Welcome to the Tailgate Debate. You're here with Anthony, Zach, Jamie, and Earl.
Hey, what's going on? So we're here for the week 8 college football review and week 7 NFL review. Where you guys want to start? You guys want to start with college or NFL? NFL's not complete yet. Um, there weren't a ton of good games. I didn't think the
I mean,
Ravens
NFL,
struggled.
there's not much to talk about other than the Panthers butt fucking the Buccaneers. So
Packers lost too, right? To the Commanders.
Huh?
I think the Commanders
Yeah,
beat the Packers.
yeah. Garrett actually was the only one to pick DC in that game. Um, and then he couldn't make it tonight because he was in the bar celebrating the big win over the Browns. So I'll go through the scores real quick. The Bengals really put it on the Falcons. Cowboys took it to the Lions. I guess Dak is back. Titans beat the Colts. The DC team beat the Packers. Man, the Packers are bad. The Jaguars lost to the Giants, and the Ravens won by a field goal over the Browns. Do you guys have any takeaways from any of this shitty slate of games? I thought everything was pretty boring.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady should retire again and just go home. Like, what's the point of him playing? And then Aaron Rodgers, he's such a bitch. I'm glad they're struggling, but like that's kind of evidence why you don't give all the money to a quarterback, because even a quarterback as great as Aaron Rodgers isn't enough to carry a team that doesn't have any talent.
well, speaking of that, fucking Andy Dalton had 2 pick sixes in like a minute and 5 seconds or something on the Thursday night game. That shit was atrocious.
One wasn't his fault though. The second one was. Did you see the slow-mo video? It was him.
No.
It was him basically like going like, what the fuck? And then the Cardinals defender was doing like a front flip into the end zone.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
That was the second pick.
But how crazy was that shit? The Cardinals had 42 points and Kyler Murray had 200 passing yards. That's absurd.
Hey, I picked the Cards. Garrett is the one that said that the Cards would do terrible because Call of Duty was coming out. So he was wrong on that, but he got the DC pick right. It was just it was a boring week in the NFL. It was a boring week in college actually too. There wasn't a ton of headlines. The Ravens, I'll tell you, I was watching them, and this was the first game that I watched. And it's a shame that Garrett and Earl both couldn't make it because they're the Ravens fans. But when I was watching this game, I was thinking to myself, this team looks bad. This is a bad team. Like all they did was hand the ball off. It looked like they had no faith in the passing game whatsoever. I think Lamar ended up with 110 passing yards or somewhere in that neighborhood.
120.
Okay, 120. I thought they looked, it's funny that they won because it looked to me like the worst game they played or the worst they've looked in a game. Did you guys watch it? What did you think? Am I being too harsh on them or what?
I just saw the stats and the fact that the Ravens are playing their Browns without the handyman and they only had like 250 yards of offense and 23 points. I mean, that's a game they could have lost. That's ridiculous. Like you're playing the Browns at home when they don't have their starter.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts watching the game. And Jacoby Brissett, he actually had a really bad day where he turned the ball over. And right before half, I don't know if you guys watched the game, but they were in field goal range to get a field goal before halftime, and he got sacked and kind of fucked that up for him, and they ended up losing by 3. So if the Browns have a quarterback that can just manage the game, let alone Deshaun Watson, who's actually a really good quarterback, the Browns would have beat the shit out of them. And it's funny because I know that like when they would, like the Ravens fans, when they would lose a game like that where they didn't have their starting quarterback or they didn't have so-and-so, they would always make comments about how like, oh, they only beat us by 3. When we get our full team, we'll fuck them up. I wonder what they think about the Browns when they get Deshaun Watson back.
I don't think they care. I think they all are kind of working under the assumption that nobody knows what Deshaun will look like when he gets back, which is true. But I'd be willing to wager dollars to donuts that he'll be better than Jacoby Brissett. So there's that. I agree with you. I thought the Browns really gave this game away. I didn't think the Ravens did anything to really win it. They just did what they could do to not lose it, and then let the Browns kind of fuck it up in the end. And then and then the Browns did have a field goal to tie it, and who knows what would happen in overtime, because the Browns didn't look very sharp either. But that false start that they called was atrocious. I didn't that was another phantom false start call, but it doesn't matter. There's no guarantee he would have made it either way. And I can't stand blaming that outcome on the ref shit. It just really gets on my nerves. It is what it is. I just thought it was a strange call, but it's whatever. Anything else on the NFL?
I think this week sums up why everyone here has advocated for not paying these guys $1 billion contracts. Like, you need to build a fucking team, and this shit's why. So
I think the good organizations understand that. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm never talking about that contract stuff again. You guys can if you want to. I just don't give a shit. I don't care what they pay any of them, and I don't care. Like Aaron Rodgers, he got the money he wanted to get, and you can watch the Packers, and you're not even watching the Packers. You're just watching Aaron Rodgers. So that's what they want. That's what they got. Who cares? Fuck it.
do you guys have an opinion about McCaffrey or no?
I thought it was a good pickup by the 49ers. I mean,
And a good move for McCaffrey too. Yeah.
the big thing is, can McCaffrey stay healthy? But the Panthers didn't get any first round picks back for him. It was all second, third round picks. So I thought the 49ers, that was a great trade for them.
You mean the Chiefs?
49ers.
Oh, it was the 49ers? I thought it was the Chiefs.
No, McCaffrey went to the 49ers. They're playing the Chiefs.
Oh, okay. Either way, what the fuck are the Panthers doing?
They're
Like,
rebuilding. They're trying to get draft picks.
I know if you're gonna trade people, you gotta get some value. Like,
I agree. They gave it away.
Or if they're just trying to free up money too. I mean, there's a lot of value in dumping the salary if you don't look. McCaffrey, how much longer has he got in the league? Running backs don't last all that long as it is.
yeah.
Now he probably did have more trade value than that, but again, if you're trying to free up cap space and I don't understand not getting first round draft picks. That is a bit weird.
They need more money for Baker Mayfield.
The Panthers they're just really bad.
I mean, ever since what was it, 2003 that they had the Super Bowl run, they've been atrocious.
Well, no, they went back to the Super Bowl with Cam Newton.
Yeah.
They had some good years there. I don't know. They haven't done anything in the last couple of years, that's for sure. And even after that Cam Newton Super Bowl run, they really fell off the following season. I don't even know if they made the playoffs the following season, to be honest. I can't remember.
I know we don't talk about the NBA much. I don't know if you guys have paid attention at all, but the Lakers, they look like total dog shit. And like,
didn't they start 0-3 or something?
Yeah, and their shooting is so bad, right? So after the first game, LeBron's post-game presser, they were asking him about the shooting, and he basically shit on the whole team, saying like, we don't have shooters, like that's not what we're about. We don't have any, I think he said like snipers or something, right? So he shit on his whole team. Second game, they lost again. They didn't shoot well. They asked him, questions about what's going on. And he's like, I'm not going to sit up here and talk bad about the team or what we can and can't do after every game. I'm like, you just did that last game. Like, but like with the Lakers, I don't understand why they're not just blowing that whole thing up. That team sucks. Like, trade AD, get LeBron's ass out of there. Like, send him to wherever he wants to go and just fucking get some picks and start over, because they don't have any draft picks until 2026, 2027. And they don't have any talent on their roster. They are fucked. They need to make moves and just blow that team up.
They missed the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah. They're going to miss the playoffs this year.
Like, how do you have people who are perpetual all-stars and you just don't do jack shit in the NBA?
No, I'm with Jamie. I don't watch the NBA, but I did watch only because I was bored and in bed. Because I hate the NBA, but I needed something to turn on TV while I was going to sleep. So I put on the Golden State, and I do like Steph Curry, and I like the Warriors team, but it's hard to watch with Draymond because I can't stand Draymond, but I like the rest of the team. But I was watching the Warriors and Lakers, and I was shocked at how bad the Lakers shooting was. Shocked. I mean, they were missing shots at the rim. Wide open jumpers just weren't even close. I'm like, wow, this team is brutal. And then at halftime, Barkley and all those guys said the same thing. They're like, this team isn't a contender for anything. Barkley actually said they should let Westbrook go because they're just holding him back because this team is not going to do anything.
Well, Westbrook, I love Russell Westbrook, but he's definitely struggling. I think it was the first or second game, he shot 0 for 11. And then the reporter was like, you know, how did you think you did tonight? He was like, solid outing. Like, he was like, I played hard. That's all you can ask for. I was like, damn, these dudes are getting paid tens of millions of dollars, and all you gotta do is play hard. God, they signed me up.
Was he serious or joking around?
I think he was serious.
He's always fucking serious.
He wasn't.
He's never made a joke.
But
no, he fucks around, but he keeps a straight face. You can't really tell.
It was funny though.
He's a weird player because I've always liked him, but he's always one of those guys that I'm like, I don't know if he can ever get it done.
Well, Westbrook, he got by on his athleticism.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like his first step was crazy.
Yeah.
And that little like 10, 12 foot pull up he does, unstoppable.
Yeah, but I guess he's lost a step. He's getting older and he just never worked on his shot. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing or if he's really that bad of a shooter. But like Charles said, he just looks like he doesn't even want to play basketball anymore. Like they need to move him on. But the other thing is nobody wants to take on his salary.
Well, isn't his contract massive?
Yeah. He signed a big deal with Washington before he came over.
Well, the other question I would have with him is, can he facilitate? I mean, if you need to reduce his role, like if he doesn't have the athleticism to do what he used to do by getting to the rim, can you make him a facilitating point guard? And he's never really been that guy. So what are you going to do with him?
He turns the ball over a good bit because that's not his role. He's not a creator. He's a scorer.
Right.
He's just not a scorer anymore. So
yeah, well, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean he's feast or famine, and he's been famine for a while.
Yeah.
I like Westbrook, man. I think we all agree that we all like. I think most people. I mean, you have to be a fan with somebody that plays that hard. That's why I always loved Iverson. Iverson's always been my favorite player, just because he always left it on the floor. I loved Iverson.
The Lakers just continuously make bad fucking moves. Like I think there's rumors that they're going to get Draymond Green, and it's like that dude sucks. Like I don't think anyone is like trying to get that dude or have him on their team. Like he's punching his teammates. He doesn't really contribute on the floor. Like what's the positives for adding Draymond to your team?
I was going to say they're bringing Draymond in to punch LeBron in the face.
So,
fuck?
The Lakers have shooting issues, so they're going to bring in Draymond, who can't shoot for shit.
It's weird. And then all the
people, I hope they get him because I hate that Draymond is on that Warriors team. I can't stand his ass.
Yeah, and all the people, like all the experts are like the Lakers need to trade their 26 and 27 draft picks and get players for LeBron and win now. And it's like, I don't know if LeBron can win now. Like I think they're passed up. There's probably 4 or 5 teams that have better players and that are more of a championship favorite than they are. So it's like, why would you get rid of the only picks that you have to add players to a team that's probably not going to win anyways? It's just weird to me that everyone's like, LeBron can still do it. LeBron can still do it. And I just don't see that. I don't see LeBron being the best player on a championship team at this point in his career.
I think they're just looking at numbers. Like statistically, he's still doing what he's always done. His 25, 8 and 5 or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, anyone who understands basketball can tell you that he's getting his and they're losing. So like, that's not a recipe for success.
Is he getting his though? Like, I know the numbers might be there, but what is his shooting percentage has to be way down. When I was watching him play, and I only watched one game because I can't stand the NBA, but he really, he was missing balls at the rim, like 3-foot floaters, and it was crazy. I'm like, wow, this is brutal. It's not even like watching an NBA game. So I don't know if he is getting his. Maybe in volume, but certainly not. It can't be in percentage.
You watch more than us. Do you think there's a team that they could reasonably put around him to win?
Yeah, they would need 3 All-Stars and LeBron.
Story of his career.
Yeah, if LeBron joined the Warriors, he might win a championship.
Yeah, trade Draymond for LeBron.
Right.
That would be a good trade.
I don't know if you guys seen it. So when the Lakers were playing Golden State, Draymond and LeBron had like come together and they were shaking hands during the game. And it was weird because everybody on Golden State was kind of looking like, Draymond, why are you talking to this guy? Like he plays for the other team. And Andre Iguodala did like the dick sucking. Yeah. Basically saying that these dudes are sucking each other's dicks. So I even think like the Golden State players are just, they want Draymond out of there because they know that the organization is not going to give him a long-term deal. And really, he's just there sulking and acting like a bitch and punching his teammates. So like, I think all those dudes are just tired of his ass and they want him gone.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that contract for Jordan Poole after that incident sums it up.
Yeah.
Like you give him $140 million right after a controversial issue. That means fuck that guy.
I don't see that. I don't really, I know you said that right after it happened, but I don't really think any of those things have anything to do with one another.
You don't think that Draymond, so Draymond, Clay, and Steph were the core of the Warriors for their first 3 championships, right? And then KD, obviously.
Yeah.
And you don't think that any of that played into it, that the organization is moving on from Draymond and they're paying the guy that Draymond just punched? You don't think there's anything there?
Well, are you saying something that happened that made Draymond resentful to punch him, or the fact that they paid him after Draymond punched him, like Draymond saying,
no. Just being resentful and kind of like understanding that your time here is done and we're moving on to these younger guys that are contributing.
Well, I don't see, and that's where I don't watch enough of the NBA to really comment intelligently on that. So I don't know the ins and outs like that. I don't know that the Warriors have moved on from Draymond. They seem to let him have free reign. I mean, I don't know that I'll believe that the Warriors have moved on until they move on, because Draymond to me has been out of control for several seasons now on the Warriors, and has been a liability. I know that there's people that say, well, he can pass really well and he can do this really well. They're fucking parrots. They don't watch the game. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Draymond's a liability on and off the court. All he does is run his mouth. So until they move on, I don't know that I believe that they're going to move on. But investing in Poole, to me, it's like, yeah, he's young. You got to sign him because you got to sign young players. But does that mean you're shitting on that the organization is shitting on Draymond? I don't really connect those dots, but maybe you guys
see if Steph Curry had punched him in the face, they would have gotten rid of his ass. That's the difference to me.
I don't agree with that. I totally disagree with what you're. I don't agree with any of this.
I'm not saying the same thing Zach is. I'm saying that Draymond does probably feel some type of way that he's kind of being written off after all he's done for the organization. All he's done for the organization being the third option and not really contributing much. But
well, let me ask you, I don't mean to cut you off, but why are you saying he's being written off? Because I haven't heard any of that. What is it that makes you guys think?
The writing's on the wall, right? They're not going to sign. They already signed Steph. They already signed Clay. They just gave Jordan Poole a contract. They gave Andrew Wiggins a contract. Draymond's not getting a contract. The writing's on the wall. He's done. His career with Golden State is over as soon as his contract expires or until they trade him.
When is that? When does his contract expire?
I think after this year. But the other thing I want to say about Draymond is, like you were saying that he's been a liability for the past few years, and people who say that Draymond's this great player, it's just funny to me because last year in the finals, like he was exposed. Like I think he was really hurting the Warriors more than he was helping them. And then the year before that was when there were some injuries where Steph missed time, Clay missed time, and Draymond was the only player, like core player, that was playing the whole season, and they sucked. Like they didn't make the playoffs. They were terrible. So it's like any other player that's like a key contributor of a big three or top player on the team, if their running mate gets injured, they're going to be able to hold it together, where Draymond Green couldn't even fucking win a game. It tells you that he's a glorified role player within that system. And I mean, I give him credit for what he did with Golden State because he was a vital piece to what they were doing, but I wouldn't say he was like, they would have still did what they did had he not been there.
He was replaceable.
For sure.
Yeah.
He made an impact. I'm not saying he was a scrub and he was irrelevant, because he made an impact on defense, leadership, culture, all that. Like he was a big part of all that. But like you said, he was very replaceable. And at this point in his career, he's a liability, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that really just pisses me off, I can't stand people that just repeat shit they hear on the media and stuff like that. Those people I don't have any respect for anyway. But you do have this collection of idiots that talk about how Draymond Green is the Warriors version of Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was a far superior basketball player than Draymond Green. But at the end of the day, the Bulls were about Pippen and Jordan. If Rodman wasn't there, they would have got another piece to plug in to rebound and give them the ball. So Rodman was the most expendable piece. He was critical in those runs, but they, if need be, once Horace Grant left, they would have got the piece to put there.
See, but
Rodman became available. But Draymond Green, he can't even do what Rodman can do on not even close.
Are you equivocating Pippen and Jordan to Steph and Clay in the fact that like they take care of business and then the third guy is there and valuable, but just someone else could do it?
I'm saying that sometimes the big three really gets I didn't mean to quote with three, but the big three, I think sometimes gets overstated. And really when people say the big three, they mean the nucleus that's been there from the beginning and been there through this run, right? And so people really start to use it much more loosely, I think. When they say the big three, what they mean is the main three, the consistent three. But when you say that the core of the team, the core of the championship team, who are the guys that got you where you need to be? It's Steph, it's Clay, it's Durant, it's Pippen, it's Jordan. It was the point guard, whoever, Ron Harper or BJ Armstrong, those guys that were running the points. It's those players. A guy who rebounds and does the dirty work is important, but you can get that. Every team has one. Every team. I mean, the Knicks had a team full of them. They could have got one from the Knicks.
Yeah, I agree. Even the Heat had LeBron, Wade, and Bosch is the one that everyone viewed as, take him or leave him.
Like, yeah, but in those situations, so like you guys just name Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, and then you name LeBron, Wade, Bosch, right?
I didn't.
No, I'm saying, but like in those big threes, you could count on the third person to step up and be a contributor. Where Draymond, you couldn't even count on him to step up and be a contributor. Where at least Rodman, when Pippen was out, Rodman stepped up. And Jordan even said, like, I needed Rodman to step up and fill that role. And he did. Could Steph Curry rely on Draymond Green to step up and carry the load and score points? No, fuck no. And the other thing too, going back to Rodman and Draymond Green, like they're both crazy as fuck, but at least Rodman was entertaining. Like he would just do Vegas. He would fuck supermodels. Like he was pretty fucking cool. He would do like the shit with his hair. Draymond just fucking constantly yells at people, plays horrible basketball, and punches his teammates. Yeah, give me Rodman.
Anyway, I cannot fucking stand Draymond Green. And I'd be more happy if they cut him loose. So look, in terms of the Ravens, I just got a message from Garrett that he says he's available to hop in. Do you guys want to back up or just keep it moving?
Yeah, bring him on.
If he wants to hop in real quick, I'd like to hear what he has to say because they didn't do shit today. So
yeah, but in terms of the NBA, it's such a bad brand of professional sports, and I liked Rodman when he was with the Bulls, but it really does drive me crazy when people compare Draymond Green to Dennis Rodman. I think it's an insult to Rodman. But I also come from that era. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different. So I know I'm a little bit partial.
No, I agree.
I mean, for me, like personally, I prefer a guy like Ron Artest to Draymond. Like he's a lockdown defender. He'll hit some threes. Draymond is just
no.
Draymond is just like a chippy asshole.
You would take.
I would take like if you look at like Xavier McDaniel or Anthony. These are older school guys like that played in the '90s, like Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, Anthony Mason. Like they were enforcers, right? That's what they were. But on those teams, there was no confusion about what they were. They were enforcers. Nobody ever attributed, the team's success to them in terms of scoring, carrying, running the point, saying they're great passers. They had a role, and their role was to be the enforcer. That's what Draymond's role is. But he's convinced everybody in the world and bullied everybody in the organization to being more than that. They let this dude bring the ball up. He can't pass for shit.
Is your
know
issue
why-
more with his role or more with the perception of him?
What? Say it again.
Is your issue more with his play or the perception of him? Because it seems like
I
you're
know my
annoyed that he gets a lot of credit that he shouldn't get.
No, my issue is threefold. Number one, I think he gets more credit than he should get. Number two, I think he's a total asshole. And number three, the fact that people have been convinced by the media, because if people trust their own eyes, they would see, have been convinced by the media that he's a great basketball player. And even Earl, when he was on here, and I'm not going to shit on Earl because he's not here. I mean, in a real conversation, I would rather he be here to defend himself. But when we talked about this months and months ago, Earl was saying, no, he's a great passer and this and that. And I'm like, well, tell me when. When did he, he's like, well, he can make a bounce pass here and he could do it. So you're impressed that an NBA player can make a bounce pass or a chest pass? I mean, at the NBA level, you're supposed to be able to make a pass. When you say an NBA player is a good passer, they should pass the ball like Magic or Curry or really guys
Stockton.
that can actually pass. Otherwise, they're just NBA players who do pass the ball on occasion. That's part of their job. It drives me crazy. It does.
What were you saying, Jamie, about our test?
Well, I agree with you. I would rather have our test on my team than Draymond Green, but it sounded like Anthony said no, he wouldn't.
No way. Nah, I don't want our test.
Well, I don't want our test, but he's a lockdown defender and he'll hit some threes. He's a good player.
Yeah, he could shoot. So you could put him on the floor, space out the defense, and he could
Yeah.
contribute with his shooting and lock down the best player on the other side of the floor. So he's.
I mean, no one ever talks about it. He hit the game winner in Kobe's last ring. In game 7 or whatever, he hit the 3-pointer that put him ahead.
Yeah, I would take our test, and it's not even close.
And our test will take a scorer out of the game. Like he'll shut LeBron down. He'll shut Paul Pierce down.
I mean, he'll at the very least make it very tough for them to score their 30 points, which that's all you can ask for your defender is make it tough. And he has
Well-
the size to defend those guys too.
Yeah.
And
And
he's not a one-way player either. He plays both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are probably right. I don't watch enough NBA to really have this kind of a conversation. I can talk about the 90s NBA teams. When Jordan retired, I pretty much retired. And then it's gotten so bad and so soft since then. I don't get into it. So you guys probably have a better gauge on who you would take over Draymond Green. I mean, for me, it's the bottom line is that whoever plays that role, the dirty work role, I want them to understand that that's what their role is. You're not the team leader. You're not the point guard. You're not the mouthpiece that's going to be doing all the interviews. You're the guy who plays this role on this team. You understand that, and the superstars are Steph, or they're Clay. It's probably going to be Jordan Poole at some point. Those are the guys that we want to score, and you rebound. You hustle. That's what you do.
I wanted to be on record that I also don't give a fuck about the NBA. I was just kind of tuning in to the beginning of the season. I usually watch it on Christmas Day, and then I will tune in for the playoffs. But I agree, the NBA is a terrible product. So yeah, I don't really follow it too closely either. I know enough just to have a conversation about these things, but I definitely don't stay locked in during the regular season.
Yeah.
We're waiting on Garrett, right? So we're just filling time.
No, well, we can move on into college because he doesn't really contribute a lot to college, and then we'll circle back to the Ravens.
Okay.
So in college, let me just run. So, well, first of all, Zach, do you have the sheet in front of you? Can you talk about how we did last week? Because it was fucking atrocious for me.
Oh, yeah, you had 2. Do you want me to say our scores or go through the games or what? Or Garrett's here. You want to talk about the Ravens?
Well, in fairness, I do my picks before the games are played. So go ahead. Yeah, do everybody how they did for the week real quick.
Well, Garrett's here. Do you want to do the Ravens talk now or wait?
Let them get settled in. Go ahead and let's do our totals from last week.
Okay, so the totals are Tony for 2, dropping deuces. Squirrel
deuces.
for 7, and then Zach and Jamie for 6.
Yeah, so can you give our annual totals? I think I put those on the bottom of the sheet.
All right, so Tony is at 40. Again, shit in the bed. Earl's at 60. Picking games after they happen, he's in the lead. And Zach is at 50, Jamie at 52.
Yeah, there's got to be an asterisk next to Earl's number. There's a steroid record. And guys, so
Yeah, it's I don't know what Earl's doing. I know we did the shows last week and his picks weren't in there. And then the week was going on and there was nothing there. And then I went in to grade him and all of a sudden his picks are there and he did the best. I'm like, okay, whatever.
and again, this week we're doing the picks and there's no picks loaded, right?
Yep.
Right.
Oh, he doesn't have any picks in there yet? We're putting we're not putting an asterisk by it. We're not even fucking regarding it as legit.
It's pronounced asterisk, you dumb motherfuckers.
Asterisk.
What'd you say?
Asterisk.
What?
There's an S in there. Asterisk, you dumb motherfuckers.
You have a list?
That's what we said.
No, you said asterisk.
You got a lisp.
I'll
Asterisk.
call it whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean? So what difference does it make?
Just say the shit right.
Hey, just fucking just put an asterisk by it.
I wonder what kind of performance enhancers Earl's on. I guess
What?
juicing. Is Earl juicing up?
Why do you think he's juicing?
Thick neck.
Hey, maybe that was a side effect to one of the supplements. Loss of neck.
Maybe he's turning into the Hulk.
He's turning into Frosty.
Huh?
He's turning into Frosty.
He sends the most random messages. He sends a text and says, "Yeah, I might be able to make the podcast today," and then we were going to record it. Nothing. Blank.
Don't even hear from
Like,
him.
all right. Huh?
He's busy melting.
Yeah. All right. So Garrett, we actually went through the NFL. We're back. We're going to back up for you though, so you could talk about. We already did the other games, but what'd you think of your boys today?
Sloppy. But a win is a win.
I was nervous for you guys when you guys went up 10. I'm like, whoa, they're fucked.
Yeah, man. The whole bar. I gotta stop watching games at bars because people just piss me off.
Why, what were they
Yeah.
doing?
I mean, you go up 10, like, oh my god, we're over. It's done. Like, dude, like, everybody shut the fuck up, man. Like, I don't know, man. I don't ever go
Have they
out
not
in
seen a
public.
game this year?
Oh no, I don't understand that. It's just like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't know. I don't go out in public and watch games, man. I sit on my couch and I just watch football. People got NASCAR on and stuff. Like, man, turn that NASCAR off. I'm trying to watch football.
What kind of bar are you at?
It was better bar than last week. I'll tell you that.
Were you in
But-
Cecil County?
What's that?
Were you in Cecil County?
I was in Baltimore County.
No, they got a local bar there that everybody and their mother goes to.
For the Ravens games or just to go?
For NASCAR,
Just
apparently.
to go. I don't go there for Raven games. I sit on my couch where I'm sitting right now and watch games. Unless I'm at the game. But yeah, I don't know, man. It was sloppy. The offense just looked out of fucking sync and it's really annoying. I'm so
Why
tired
do
of
you-
watching somebody. What?
I was going to ask you why do you think they were so run heavy? And it wasn't even like misdirections. It was just kind of handoff up the middle. It was really kind of old school football, wasn't it? Or was that just me?
No, you're right. But I mean, it's someone I told you weeks ago that they needed back and they got him back. Like Gus Edwards is a beast, but I don't know, man. Mark Andrews had 2 targets. Mark Andrews had 2 targets, like the receiver, like Lamar. I just looked it up. Lamar had 9 completions for 16, 9 for 16. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna ask, was it raining
Man.
really heavy there or something? Because he had 8 passes like in the third quarter.
yeah, I don't know, dude. I know I looked
Yeah.
after the game that Fire Greg Roman was trending, and
Yeah,
it just looks way out of sync, man. Like,
I don't think it was raining at all, by the way.
the way
Well,
the
that's why I was asking, because I thought it was weird that Lamar only had 8 passes at halftime.
yeah, that's just what they were doing. It's really weird.
the way the game was called kind of plays into the strength of the Browns defense. Like they usually have a good defensive line, good linebackers. And the fact that they were running the ball straight up the middle so much was kind of weird. And the Mark Andrews stuff with him having 2 targets, it could be because the Browns realized that Mark Andrews is the only person that they have to guard for Lamar Jackson not to be able to throw the ball. So they probably were just guarding him. He wasn't open, which is what the Browns should do anytime they play the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd have to look at the all 22 thing or whatever, but that could very well be the case because outside of Rashad Bateman, you ain't really guarding anybody. Duvernay had a very nice catch to start the game, and then they just didn't even throw him the ball again. It was,
Yeah, that was a nice catch. It was a nice throw too.
yeah, it was weird. I don't know.
Well, I told
Like,
Tony
it's
to
like,
invite you
I
on
was-
so you could be here for a win. Are you
Yeah,
gonna throw some confetti or something?
yeah, let me pull it out of my back pocket. No, they like it was weird. I was listening to something on the radio the other day, and Greg Roman, they were talking about like what Greg Roman does. Like the last game, they were talking about like Greg Roman said, like, oh man, Devin Duvernay is my number one receiver. I gotta get him involved. And he put like an exclamation point after the fucking get him involved. What the fuck are we doing? Why isn't he involved? Like, use him. I don't.
Do you think?
And then they did it again.
Do you think the coordinator is kind of handicapped to run a certain offense because of Lamar?
I think he's handicapping Lamar.
So you think like Lamar could basically dissect the defense and pass the ball all over the place?
I think he could do a better job of what they're doing now. I mean, they did a pretty good job early in the year, and then now it's just like it's a whole different offense. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Like if say Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, elite passers, if they were the quarterback, do you think the offensive coordinator would run the same offense he ran today?
I mean, those guys also don't run the ball like Lamar runs the ball. So
Josh Allen does. Pat Mahomes can buy time and he can run.
I mean, not to the degree that Lamar does.
I don't think that's a fair question. I'm not defending Lamar because I'm not a Lamar supporter, but I think if you're going to say, would they run the same play calling? I think you would have to compare Lamar to comparable quarterbacks. I don't think anybody in the world believes that Lamar is an elite quarterback. Maybe the Ravens fans do, but he's not an elite quarterback. So if you're talking about,
he's certainly not an elite passer.
Right. So you have to compare him to other kind of average, or even if you want to call it better than average. I don't think he's better than average, but
Well, I asked Garrett before if the offensive coordinator was limited by Lamar Jackson. He said no, and he thought that Lamar could do better than what he did passing the ball.
right.
So I thought it was a fair question to ask if
Yeah. I think the question is fair. I just don't think the comparison is fair. I think you would have to compare the passing
and I also
to like Derek Carr or
I
I
also
don't
think
know.
that if you ask Garrett, I think he does believe that Lamar is a elite quarterback.
Passer.
Yes.
Because
passer.
he's gone on record on this podcast and said that Lamar should get the $300 million contract. If he didn't believe that Lamar was an elite quarterback, passer, all that, I don't think he would say that.
Well, Garrett's here, so we can ask him.
Sorry, the dog's trying to come downstairs, and I'm trying to keep him off the podcast.
We're asking about the 300 million in the elite passing.
Oh, I
Yeah,
heard
300
you.
million. I don't want to do the contract shit. Do you think he's elite?
Yeah, I think he can win ball games. That's what fucking matters. Correct?
Well, elite means like top 3, top 5.
Yeah, top 5. Is Lamar top 5?
In the league?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Give me your
All
top.
right, Jay, my bad.
Hold on.
Sorry
Give
for
me your top
interrupting.
5.
Sorry for interrupting.
Give us your top 5, Garrett.
In order or
Just
No.
overall, just top 5.
Mahomes, Allen. Fuck, now I'm forgetting quarterbacks. Jesus Christ.
I mean, Lamar, you said he's in there.
Yeah, Lamar. I don't know why I'm just drawing a fucking blank here right now.
Rodgers, Brady.
Not right now. Not right now.
No, Brady. Listen, you don't put Brady on any fucking list. I'll end this shit right now.
I was just throwing names out.
Dear God, man, they looked fucking awful today.
I can't believe I still have that fucking mop on my fantasy team.
Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert.
Russell Wilson,
yeah,
he's dropping
mean-
dimes in Denver.
Dropping deuces.
I would put Herbert in there, even though he doesn't look that great right now, too.
He doesn't.
And What's that? 4, 5, and I guess Burrow.
Alright, so Herbert, Burrow, Allen, Lamar,
Mahomes, yeah.
and Mahomes. Yeah. No. That ain't my
Well,
list, but
Name fucking
whatever.
5 then.
My same, well, I would list the 4 that you just did, and then I would drop Lamar and I'd put Rodgers in. Rodgers still was top 5 quarterback, just because he ain't playing great now because he ain't got no team because they paid him all that money, so there was nobody else to sign. But he's still an elite quarterback. I mean, Rodgers is going to make my top 5 quarterbacks unless he drops off the cliff like Brady has this year.
Oh
Garrett,
my
Garrett,
God.
if you want to see what the Ravens will look like when they pay Lamar, watch a Green Bay Packers game, and then worse than that.
I mean, you act
Yeah.
like they're paying someone on the offense right now.
They are paying people on offense. Your offensive line, there's a lot of money in the offensive line. Stanley,
List ends there.
I don't think the Ravens. I know Garrett. You always think we're hating on the Ravens. I'm not. I don't hate them at all. I really don't care. But I'm not hating on Lamar. I don't think any elite receivers will ever go to Baltimore while Lamar's a quarterback. They might support him, but they know he can't. That they're not going to get the ball.
yeah, but the other thing too, if the Ravens spent money on a wide receiver, it would be money wasted. Lamar wouldn't be able to use them. So then the Ravens fans would be complaining that they paid this receiver all this money and he doesn't do shit. The offense that they run isn't for a number 1 receiver. Like you said, no number 1 wants to play in that system.
I don't think so.
Which is
But
why I
they-
think they need to run a different type of offense.
But they can't.
Well, that's where the debate starts: is can they expand the offense? I mean, Earl says the same thing. He's a Ravens fan, and he's convinced too that the offensive coordinator is the liability. I don't know. You guys will probably get what you want because if their offense does start scoring some points, something's gonna have to change. That's for sure. And it looks like it's not gonna be Lamar. So
I mean, I know we don't want to get into the contract stuff again. I'll just say
Please.
if they pay him, you can't say that he doesn't have help and pay him. So I'll leave it at that.
yeah, I mean the contract stuff is just who fucking cares at this point. It's like it ain't our money. They'll have to figure it out. I don't know, but I'm so tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we're good win over the poo-poos.
Yeah, I guess.
I tell you, Garrett, the one thing I will say, because I've watched all the Ravens games, and this today was the worst I thought they looked the whole season. Even the games they lost, they looked better than this. They just lost it in the 4th quarter. I thought they looked terrible today. What did you think?
I love seeing Gus Edwards back. I fucking love that guy.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. That play, the play where Mark Andrews pitched the ball to Lamar was odd, but kind of cool. That was weird.
it was weird.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a cool little variation off of it because early in the year they've actually put him under center a couple times, like for a sneak or something like that.
Yeah,
And then they pitched it to him this time. So I don't know, it was kind of cool, but it was also kind of weird just for a yard, but whatever, it worked.
yeah, it was strange.
I didn't think the defense played too bad. I mean, they kind of outside of that first drive there, I feel like they kind of bottled up. Actually, I mean, they gave us some big chunk plays, but I feel like they kind of bottled up Chubb as best as they could, considering he's like the best rusher in the league.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was just the style, the play calling. Maybe that's what I was responding to. It was so fucking boring. I can't
Who calls the
stand it.
plays?
What's that?
Who calls the plays?
Hey man, I ain't arguing with you. You're the fan and you want the offensive coordinator gone. I
I'm
hope
just
you get what
saying,
you want.
man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, even to play devil's
guys,
advocate here, if Lamar can't run a different offense or do something, then I feel like they should find that out as well.
I think they know. That's why they run the offense they run.
I don't know, man. I've heard Ravens fans. Garrett, you tell me if this is true or not. When
I hate a
I've
lot
heard
of Ravens fans, so go ahead.
No. Well, so I've heard Ravens fans, when they are passing the ball a lot ineffectively, say, what the fuck are the Ravens doing? This isn't our style of play. They need to run the ball. That's what we do. That's what we do with Lamar. We run the ball. Have you heard that, or do you share that sentiment or
No,
no?
I mean, I'm all about running the ball. It's just when you're not targeting like anyone or even your best player on your offense outside of Lamar Jackson, it just feels weird. Even the receivers, Rashad Bateman makes plays. I don't know if that's something to do with him being injured or what, but man,
He looked fine. He looked fine today.
I like
I thought he
Bateman
did too.
Yeah, he caught the ball, made a guy miss, got up the field. He looked fine. There was nothing.
Yeah. So why is he not getting the ball more? I don't know.
You guys have weapons. Duvernay's good too. Bateman's good too. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Duvernay
not
had a
like,
great catch, and I don't know if he caught maybe 1 or 2 balls the rest of the damn game. It's just weird. I don't know. At times I feel like he just kind of gets away from what he's trying to do. Like I was talking about, like he's circling players like, oh, I got to get that guy the ball. Like, what the fuck was your plan the whole time?
It's getting away from the coordinator or Lamar.
Yeah, the coordinator's the one that was like, I got to circle this guy's name and get him the ball. Like, I'll put that in my notes. Like, okay, good job, dude.
was everybody at the bar excited with the win at least?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit. I'll take an ugly win every day of the week if it costs my team from losing. Just it's a little frustrating at times.
Yeah, winning's always better. But I wanted to ask you, Garrett, like, what's your expectations for the Ravens for the rest of the season? Like, what do you think in big picture?
I mean, yeah. What the fuck? This is what we talked about before. You picked your team, right?
Yeah, but realistically, not like the.
Oh, so now we're doing realistic predictions.
Yeah, I actually want to know like what your thoughts are after watching that game. Like, are you still confident that you guys are a Super Bowl contender, or are you worried?
You can do fan pick and objective pick.
Is that what we do on here all the time?
Yeah, your fan pick is Ravens for the Super Bowl next 10 years.
Well, so like with Notre Dame, yeah, I think we're going to win the championship every year. But when we're 4-3, I kind of adjust my thinking a little bit. So like you guys are 4-3. You've had an up and down season. What are you realistically thinking your team can do this year?
I still think they'll win the division. That schedule is so weak, man. The offense played so well at the beginning of the year. The defense, I feel like, is getting better. It's just they got to figure out what the hell is going on offense.
All right. So win the division. They're a top 4 seed. They can win into the playoffs.
I mean, I guess we'll see who we get matched up against.
I had them going 9-8 first round knockout. So
I got him 8-9.
We know what you guys got them. We fucking say it every episode.
Goddamn right.
I know, but I was willing to adjust, but when I watched them today,
okay.
They look terrible today.
Hey, if the Ravens could protect a lead and they were 6-1, I would adjust.
Yeah, you would have to adjust.
But they're 4-3 and they're fucking up. So
you're right on pace.
Yeah. Garrett, when you said last week when we did our predictions, you said Ravens by 1 million over the Browns at home. I thought, I agree. It should be a beatdown, but it wasn't. It's like, what? This team? You'll fuck around with this team?
I was hanging out with a buddy of mine last night, and we're talking, and he's like, "Yo, let's go to a casino and bet like all this money on the Ravens money line." And I'm like, "Dude, the money line's pretty far up there to even win $100." He's like, fuck it, we'll bet more then. I was like, it's like, dude, like, I want to see them put like their fucking foot on somebody's throat and put them away like they used to. Like, they're not doing that right now. So
I felt bad. I almost jinxed you guys. I texted Tony before the game. I was like, "Are you gonna invite Garrett to celebrate the win?" That was at noon. And I saw the Browns were up 7-0.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh.
You always text me like the last minute possible. Hey, we're hopping on, hop on. Dude,
I didn't know they were gonna win. I didn't know they were gonna win. It's not like they had a 30-point lead at halftime. I didn't know they were gonna win until the fucking game was over. It was a 3-point
text, barring a win.
You said you wanted to come back for a win. I told these guys, I said, I'm sure he's got people over at his house. He's gonna be partying. So they said, no, send the text anyway, because we said we bring back for a win. I said, all right. So bring back for a win, but you
Oh,
don't
my
seem
God,
very
buddy.
excited for a win.
I mean, I'm excited that we won. It's just, I don't know.
It's very restrained excitement.
Yeah, yeah, it's, I feel you. If I was a Ravens fan, I think I would feel the way you look.
I just want to see him just shove it up somebody's ass, man. Just come out here and shove it up someone's ass. I'm tired of this shit. A buddy asked me for a score last night. I was like, yo, it's time for somebody to get their ass whooped. Like, it's got to be tomorrow. It wasn't tomorrow. So,
Yeah, they do have a shitty schedule, but I don't know that it's gonna matter. I mean, they're just playing, they're playing terrible.
maybe the Bucks.
They have
The Bucks look pretty bad too.
The Bucks are fucking awful. They're awful.
I can't believe they lost to the Panthers without McCaffrey. And they ran for like, the Bucks are supposed to be like one of the best run defenses in the league, and they ran for, I don't even know what the total was, but I know there was a guy that had 120, another guy had 70.
Yeah, the Buccaneers are fucking terrible. Brady fucked up, man. He should have stayed. He came out of retirement to get his ass whipped in the NFL, and he's gonna get a divorce on top of it. What an idiot.
I was gonna say, do you think Giselle was the demon that he made a deal with, and just she pulled out? Because that shit's crazy. Yeah, how he fell off.
I mean, I think it's fucked up that she's leaving him just because he played another year. I mean, I'm not in his marriage. I don't really give a shit, but that's their business. Huh?
I called this year being the year that he.
All right, Max Kellerman.
Yeah, you did, Kellerman.
I called it every year for the past 10 years.
No, I called it this year.
Nobody gives a fuck, man. Somebody's been calling that shit for a decade. Nobody cares.
Yeah, like there could very well be the case in the next like 2 or 3 weeks. You look like a fucking moron too.
Exactly.
That's the issue.
I feel good about it.
I don't really believe it though. I think he's done, man. He looks fucking terrible. Physically,
I think so too.
game wise, they look like shit. And Mike Evans looks like shit too.
He had one of the worst drops I think I've ever seen today in the NFL.
Oh my God, I traded for him this week in fantasy too.
Did you see it? Did you see it, Tony, or no?
Mm-mm.
He hit him in
No.
stride for like a 50-yard pass. He threw it into his own face and then dropped it. It was a touchdown.
He could have crawled into the end zone for like the
Yeah.
20-yard line.
Who did you trade it for him? All right, we'll come back.
I absolutely just, I don't want to say that word because I fleeced Zach in a trade. I traded Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, and J.K. Dobbins for Dak Prescott, Mike Evans, and a tight end.
That's crazy. Two of those fucking players are injured.
Hey, that's what he wanted.
Yeah, whatever.
Russell Wilson might as well be injured. So
He is. He's like has like a partially torn hamstring.
Yeah, he's actually injured. He's not playing, and his stats are the same.
And Dobbins is on IR.
Yeah. So the morning it got accepted, like 6 hours later, he was like, "Oh my God, they just put him on the IR. He's having surgery." It's like, I mean, you knew he wasn't practicing all week, but whatever.
All right, that's crazy shit right there. Let's move on to college because we spent a lot of time on the NFL and the NBA, for Christ's sake.
The NBA. Oh my God.
Yeah, we were shitting on Draymond Green and the Lakers. So let me run through the scores real quick. We already did our standings from last week. So Iowa lost to Ohio State. Shocker, Ohio State's playing a hell of a schedule. They play another team with a losing record. Tennessee beat the fucking piss out of UT Martin. Were you guys impressed? All right. Syracuse lost to Clemson.
I was impressed in the first half.
do you want to talk about the wide receiver pass, or are we skipping that?
Now we can come back to any games that we won. I don't want to spend a lot of. I mean, it was really a shitty week in college. So I mean, we can talk about whatever. Syracuse choked. What
was it? The pass that Zach's talking about? It was a tight end, wasn't it? That threw the pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Syracuse choked against Clemson. Mississippi State did their normal thing where they almost got shut out against Bama. LSU put it all over Ole Miss. TCU came back against Kansas State. Oregon beat the shit out of UCLA. Oklahoma State over Texas. Doesn't matter. I'm not going through all these scores. Fuck it. Anything you guys want to talk about from yesterday? There was really nothing that was great significant except the UCLA's undefeated season gone, Ole Miss undefeated season gone. Everything else, and LSU and LSU did look, I guess, look pretty good. Everything else was pretty much chalk. Any thoughts?
Syracuse was by far the most embarrassing game of the weekend. They were up 21-7, gave up a field goal right before half, and then scored 0 points after halftime. Clemson had 4 fucking turnovers. They capitalized on none.
Clemson benched their quarterback.
Yeah, I
Yep.
saw that.
Clemson benched their quarterback for a freshman. Syracuse was just jacking off on the sideline. I don't know what the fuck was going on. It
You know
was
what's
pitiful.
funny? You know what's funny is they benched the quarterback, bring in this new starter, and didn't even let him throw the ball. They just fucking ran the ball all over the place. And Syracuse is like they were confused. Like, oh my gosh, they brought in a new quarterback and now they're running the ball. What do we do? It was bizarre. They just ran crazy. It was
And then Syracuse had one of the worst penalties I've ever fucking seen. Clemson was
twice. So they called Syracuse for a late hit out of bounds when the guy was still in bounds. Then Syracuse got hit out of bounds and they didn't call it. They got
okay. So that was bullshit. But the one where Syracuse lineman hit the quarterback was insanely stupid. It was 3rd and 25. The quarterback scrambled. He got like 6 yards, and the defensive lineman hit him out of bounds. Just dumb as fuck. And you're right.
It should actually hit him out of bounds.
Yes. It should have been penalty on Clemson because they did it the next drive, the same play. And the refs were like, fuck it.
I don't know what you're talking about. The play I saw, the guy wasn't out of bounds. It was a clean hit that got called an unnecessary roughness.
On the 3rd and 25?
I don't remember what the down and distance was, but the quarterback was still in bounds when the hit happened. They called the unnecessary roughness, and it was absolutely a clean tackle. And everybody actually on all the sports shows and the replays were talking about it. So,
every person on TV was like, that was a dumb penalty that he just took, and the coach benched him. So,
oh, maybe it was a different hit then.
It was dumb. He was a full step out of bounds, and the defensive lineman hit him. It was dumb.
That's a different hit then. The one I'm talking about, the guy was clearly still in bounds.
But then Syracuse did the same thing, and the Clemson defensive lineman hit him, and they didn't call it. And Syracuse lost their minds, which they should have. That was bullshit.
Yeah.
But that was, to me, that was the story of the weekend was Clemson sucks balls, and Syracuse shouldn't even be allowed to count to 25. Fuck them.
Syracuse sucks, and so does the whole ACC.
So they can't even count.
Goddamn right.
Hey,
Y'all aren't allowed to count.
Anthony, did you want to comment on your ACC championship pick?
Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and eat it. I did pick Pitt. I picked Pitt repeatedly to win the ACC. They got throttled by Louisville this weekend, so I'm officially off that train. I will say this. Let me say in my defense, Pitt was a different team when we played them. I think they've gone through some injuries and had a drop off, and so they're not very good anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised actually if they still make it to the ACC championship because the ACC sucks that bad. But Pitt is terrible. I will concede that point at this time. Are you happy now? Anything else with that?
I'm just glad it's done.
Do you want to talk about your Irish? They had a big win, a lot of points. Offense looked like it came to play. I didn't see the game. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, we're not very good. UNLV.
Hey, ask me why I didn't see the game.
Because
You don't have to ask me. I just did it. Listen, how the fuck does Notre Dame have their own contract with a network and they're not even on the fucking network?
It's a good question.
I mean,
Were they on Peacock or something?
oh, they were on Peacock.
Yeah, I don't like it either. So
It's fucking weird.
I have Peacock, so I was able to watch the game, but I don't understand it.
I was actually going to ask how they looked because I saw they dominated. So
all that had to do with UNLV. It had nothing to do with us.
So your offense was still just
Sucks.
shit and
Sucks. Yeah.
yeah.
I was pissed, man. I'm like, I finally get to tune into a game and watch it. Nope, it's on Peacock. Unfucking believable. So you weren't impressed that the offense didn't make a turn, start to pick things up at all?
No, man.
Really?
We suck. I was frustrated watching the game. Even when we win games, it's frustrating. Our
What do you
offense
think?
sucks.
What are the odds that they can beat Clemson? Because I'm going to be the biggest Notre Dame fan that day.
I think it's 50-50. Clemson's offense is just as fucking bad.
No, it's not as bad, but
No. The thing with Notre Dame is like this year I've seen two different teams show up. So like if the team that played against North Carolina and BYU, if that team shows up, we could win every game on our schedule. The problem is I don't know who's going to show up. I don't know which Tommy Reese is going to show up. There's just too much inconsistency to really know what this team is going to do until the game's over and you've seen what they did. No one can predict what this team's going to do. You just kind of have to show up and hope for the best.
yeah.
They have Syracuse next week, right?
Yep.
I mean, I think you guys are in good shape because Syracuse quarterback is a pile of dog shit. So
Yeah, it's funny. I took Syracuse on my picks, and I actually think I'm going to change that because I was pretty disgusted with how Syracuse looked against Clemson.
I mean, when you go +4 on turnovers and have 30 fucking yards in the second half,
Yeah,
go fuck yourself.
yeah, yeah. Yep. 21 points when you force 4 turnovers. That's some Jeremy Pruitt shit right there.
And also, this isn't a side, but Clemson gets Alabama treatment from the officials. It's insane. Every time Syracuse completed a pass, holding, illegal motion, like every fucking time. Syracuse had, I think, 9 penalties in the second half. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Speaking of holding penalties, I've never seen a team in my life get away with more holding calls than the Ravens. They literally spin defenders around and don't get caught. It's unbelievable. I don't care because I'm not a fan of the other team. I just as an observer, I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
How many games did you watch today?
I watch just
The Raven game? Okay. You do realize that happens in every fucking game, right?
I was going to say that like the officials in the NFL, they're pretty bad. Like there were some calls on the Ravens too that I didn't see either. The officiating is just really bad in the NFL.
I think it's bad
Lamar
everywhere because
roughing the
college
passer call too.
college has been a fucking nightmare this season for officiating.
Yeah. Well, I'll take your word on it for the NFL game. The Ravens I watch and I don't watch any more NFL. So I wouldn't know what happens around the league. It's too boring. So
Yeah,
as
I
soon as
wouldn't
they
watch
get
it either if my fantasy team sucked like yours did.
That's what we've resorted to, talking shit about the fantasy teams.
I mean, that's the only other reason you'd have to watch it.
That is true. And my fantasy team is fucking awful.
Did
All
you
right.
guys see any of UCLA Oregon or no?
I did, and Oregon beat the piss out of them.
Every time I turned it on, Oregon was scoring again.
Yeah, I saw that people were praising Bo Nix again, and they're saying that Oregon has a chance for the playoffs, which is bizarre.
Oregon shouldn't even be allowed to fucking say playoffs after that Georgia game.
Do they really though?
Yeah, that's what everyone's talking
Yeah, I
about.
mean, if they go whatever and 1 undefeated in the Pac-12, they'll be there. They shouldn't be.
No.
They're number 8 right now.
They lead the Pac-12 right now.
Pac-12's eliminated from the playoff.
Pac-12's eliminated. I agree.
I'm just saying, Oregon's number 8 right now. They went out.
No.
Us and Georgia have to beat each other. Michigan, Ohio State had to beat each other. Clemson, God willing, will fucking lose a game. TCU, I assume, is going to drop one.
Clemson's going undefeated.
Clemson's going to go undefeated.
TCU's
Listen, I've conceded to the fact that there's only going to be 2 playoff spots. Clemson's taking 1, Ohio State's taking 1, or Michigan, whichever one of those idiots.
Michigan's gonna be
Well,
Ohio State.
I don't give a fuck. Whichever one of those losers win, because their schedule's fucking pathetic bullshit. Whichever one so that leaves 2 spots. So the SEC is going to get 2 teams. So Tennessee's path is to beat Georgia. Let's talk about that in a minute though, because I'm pretty pissed about some stuff I heard. We could talk about that for maybe just a minute. I think we're actually there. Oh, LSU. What do you guys think about? I've heard people say that they think LSU has arrived also. What are you guys thinking of this LSU team? Because they're second in the SEC West now.
I know Jamie wants to jump in because he hates Brian Kelly, but I think LSU is just schizophrenic. They lost to fucking Florida State, who sucks balls. We whooped their ass by 30. I don't know what to make of them. I think if their quarterback is hitting passes, they're a competitor. Like, I mean, the talent's there. They're just not performing up to their level, which you can blame for Brian Kelly.
I don't think they're good. Go ahead, Jamie.
I don't really have much to say. What did they mean arrived? Like arrived where?
On the scene, they're good. They're a legit team. They got their shit together. They're here.
Like
You saying that LSU fans?
like they could knock Alabama off?
Yeah, they're basically competing for the West now. Yes.
Nah, Alabama's gonna beat them by 30, and they'll beat Ole Miss by 45 probably. Like Alabama's gonna cruise to the SEC championship game.
You think so?
100%, yeah.
You don't think now? I'm trying to be fair with this. You don't think that the issues with Bama and the undisciplined stuff creeps back up at some point later in the season, like in LSU at night?
No, I think that it would if those teams were actually good teams, like where you guys were able to take advantage and beat them. I don't think LSU or Ole Miss are at that level to do that. So Alabama is sloppy. They're not as talented as they have been in the past, but they're still better than both of those teams, even with.
I
the
agree.
squad.
Yes. Yeah,
So
definitely they're better. I agree with that.
I don't think
That's where I'm at too. They beat Ole Miss last year. They were up 35-0 at halftime. Bama was.
It's a
And
different Bama team.
LSU,
This is a different team.
I know. But LSU is just,
yeah, but Ole Miss is also worse than they were last year.
I agree.
Yeah.
They lost that quarterback. He was good as shit.
Right.
And they shit the bed with him. So I think Ole Miss is very overrated. I actually have Ole Miss and Kentucky around the same place at like 20-ish, 25-ish. And I think that's where they probably will end up.
I think that's a good comparison. I think Ole Miss is almost identical to Kentucky. Same style of play, same strengths and weaknesses. I would agree 100%. Garrett, what do you have any thoughts on LSU? Have you watched them other than the thumping that we gave them?
I had the game on, but I was in and out of the house in the backyard and stuff. I didn't really see it, but I do know LSU fans are going crazy because I got a text from a wild, most likely intoxicated LSU fan yesterday talking about going to the playoffs, which that definitely ain't happening.
The playoffs? Yeah, I mean, they are definitely better fucking buy a ticket now.
What's
And
that?
they better buy a ticket now.
Who's they?
LSU,
Mhm.
the team and the fans, if they want to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what fan that is too.
I know who it is. Ain't anybody listen to that motherfucker. That shit's nonsense. I mean, come on, the playoffs. Even if they won the SEC, they're not going to the playoffs.
He said
They're
they
done.
can still win out and go. There's no way.
They can win out and go somewhere. They can go to the Hawaii Bowl or the fucking what else? The Carrier Bowl or whatever bullshit bowl they want to go to.
So,
They ain't going to the goddamn playoffs.
Anthony and Zach, what is your guys' prediction on what happens in the SEC?
Yeah, so that I'm glad you asked that question, Jamie. It's almost like we've talked about this before. So the fucking I'm watching fucking game day yesterday. I can't fucking stand these motherfuckers.
Where was
And
game day
Lee-
yesterday?
Oregon. And Lee
State.
Corso, they got to put this guy. They got to put him to bed, man. They got to get rid of him.
It's brutal.
He says Tennessee's only path to the playoff is to win every game and win convincingly. Can't just win every game. Got to win every game. This guy's done. He is cooked. So I ignored his old ass. All right. But then Herbie and those guys kind of agreed that, yeah, if Tennessee loses to Georgia, they didn't all come out and say it explicitly, but some of them did. And the others kind of like, yeah, that they're out, that Georgia's going to get in because of the head to head. That if we lose to Georgia, Georgia gets in for the head to head. If Bama beats Georgia, they get in for the win in the SEC. Those two teams go, we get left out. And I actually think that's exactly what will happen. And I think it's completely fucked. But I think our path to get in is I don't think we need to win convincingly, but we got to beat Georgia. We got to beat Kentucky. And we got to win out in the SEC. I don't think we need the SEC title, but we have to win the regular season for sure. And then if we win the regular season, I think the SEC title doesn't matter. Whoever both teams go, I think if it's us and Bama. That's what I think.
I agree. I think it's fucking disgusting though, but I agree.
I have a second path though, before you chime in. My second path is we lose to Georgia in a close game, field goal, 1-score game. Georgia beats Bama. And if there's 2 spaces available, I think we occupy the other. But that's a lot more risky because we don't have the brand right now that they might wanna give to a one-loss Michigan, a one-loss, maybe even Oregon, something that they think would broaden the market, in terms of viewers.
I could see them putting Alabama in the playoffs over you guys just because they made the SEC championship game. Like that's how high everybody is on Alabama.
No chance. 2 loss, you're out.
No, I'm saying okay, yeah. True, yeah.
2 and out. You lose 2, you're out.
And
I don't care who
to me, if we lose to Georgia and then Clemson or Ohio State or Michigan drop one, we should be in. I'm not
We
sure if we
should
would
be.
be. I'm not sure if we would be. Should be.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead.
I think if Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson, if any of them drop any game on their schedule, they should be out no matter what. Even with a conference championship, their schedules are so bad. If they lost a game, it would be so offensive that they would be eliminated from the playoff. Especially when you have a team like Tennessee sitting there with their only loss being to Georgia, who has been the favorite all season.
The number one team all fucking season.
Right.
Well, and remember, when you look at, and this is what pisses me off with these guys, it's not that they're speculating about what they think might happen because nobody knows. And so it's no big deal. You're at week 7. So who knows what's going to happen? What pisses me off is that they make the case that right now Ohio State should be number 1. And I heard 3 different networks, unrelated, say the same thing. The Ohio State should be number 1 because even though they're playing inferior opponents, they're doing what they're supposed to do. It's like, really, that's the standard now? To be number 1, all you gotta do is schedule shitty teams and beat the fuck out of them. And then you're good. You did what you're supposed to do. It's mind numbing. It's nauseating. I can't take it. Like, these guys get paid millions of dollars to say the dumbest shit. It fucking infuriates me.
But as wrong as we all know that is the system that is currently constructed. If Ohio State wins and Clemson wins and they beat all the teams on their shitty schedules, they're in, and there's no questions asked.
I know.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's offensive, but it's reality as well.
It's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. They got to broaden this playoff picture, and just for me personally, I'm hoping and praying that if we beat Georgia, and I do think we'll beat Georgia. I think we're a better team than Georgia. I do. Georgia's better defensively. I think offensively we're better, and I think that it's going to be a battle of sort of strengths. I know everybody's going to say that Georgia's a more balanced and better overall team, and they are. So was Alabama. But I think that scheme wise, coaching wise, offensively, I think we'll beat them. And listen, Tennessee knows that we know we have to win to go. Georgia knows there's margin for error, and so did Bama. Either way, if we make the playoff, I am hoping and praying that we get Ohio State in the first round.
Well, you just said that there's margin for error for Georgia. So you think if they lost and didn't make the SEC championship, that they would have a path?
Yes.
100%, and 100% more than us. Yes.
I don't understand that because you guys would basically be in the same boat at that point.
If Georgia's only loss is to us and then we beat the SEC West winner, Georgia with 1 loss is in.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Georgia would get in faster than we would if the scenario is reversed. So if the West gets eliminated in the SEC title game, in theory, the 2 East teams should go because they're the top 3 teams really in the country. They keep talking about Ohio State and Michigan, but everybody knows the top 3 teams right now at this point. I'm not saying that that's what's going to be in 5 weeks, but today it's Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. And if Tennessee and Georgia somehow eliminate Bama in the SEC title, the one that got lost this upcoming game between the 2 of us, those 2 teams should be in. The SEC West is eliminated. But I think that Georgia will automatically get that spot. It's not so automatic for us. And I think most people would agree with that because of the brand. Right now, we don't have the brand.
It essentially hinges on if Clemson loses. If Clemson loses, then Michigan or Ohio State, they play each other. So one's going to have a loss. And then it's all up for grabs.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not even going through specific scenarios when I say that. I'm just saying if the 1 loss East, if it's Georgia, gets in much quicker than us if we lose. So Georgia, that's why I'm saying has more margin for error, because if Georgia drops a game, a field goal game, the committee will be looking for a reason to get them back in because they're the defending national title. They've been good for a few years. I think everybody right now still thinks that we're a fluke, which is fucking
Absolutely.
amazing. We've played more top 25 teams than any other team in the nation. By the time our season's over, South Carolina's in the top 25 now. So by the time our season's over, we'll have played 12 games, 8 against top 25 teams. That's unfucking believable. That's unbelievable.
So are you just going? Are you naming any team that has been in the top 25 at any point in the season?
When we
Play them.
When we played them. Yeah. And that's the way it's always looked at and listed.
All right. Well, aside from us, did you guys want to talk about TCU because they're still undefeated?
Nah, I think TCU is going to lose. I think most people agree that they still got Texas. They still got Oklahoma State again, probably in the Big 12 title game. I don't think they finish. They're living on the edge right now with these comeback wins. I don't think they're going to survive. I think they're playing with fire. I think Texas will take care of them. And if they don't, I think the Big 12 title they lose. But if they go undefeated, they're in. So there's that. Any undefeated conference title champion goes to the playoff automatically.
Yeah. You were the only one who had Northwestern against Maryland.
What's that?
You were the only one who had Northwestern against Maryland.
Maryland only won by a touchdown.
Maryland's almost bowl eligible.
I don't really care.
I think that's a surprise to everybody, even Earl.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know even know that Earl really watches the games.
Well, no one cares. I'm just saying he's the only one who picked it.
That they would go to a bowl.
Yeah.
There's nothing to risk.
I had them at 4 wins, but they're crushing.
Yeah, they're really smashing that Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, by crushing I mean squeaking by dog shit teams.
Yeah, Herbie actually said that he thinks that Ohio State is going to have a pretty big test when they play Maryland.
Yeah, he's reaching far.
He is. The dude is no longer an ESPN analyst. He's an Ohio State
Advocate.
publicist. Yeah, advocate.
He's an Amazon analyst.
Yeah. And that's just brutal too. They need to kick his ass off that too.
Yeah,
I think we should have game day for every home game, and Herbie should pick against us every time. He's 0-2 this season.
He's going to pick against Tennessee until they lose, and then he'll start pumping them up. I do agree with Jamie, and I've talked about this before. Herbie shits on anybody who's a threat to take a spot from the Big Ten until they're no longer a threat, and then he starts complimenting them.
He's a fucking asshole.
That's his MO. He's a dick. All right. Look, we'll get together later this week to do picks for the upcoming weeks. We're not going to fuck with it tonight. You guys got anything else from fillators of the week? I almost forgot. Let's do our fillators of the week. Jamie, do you have one ready? I can go if you guys aren't ready right now.
I have 3 I'm considering, so.
You have 3?
Yeah.
Zach always has the most to say. You know how this works.
Wow. Okay. I don't mind going first. My fillators of the week are every analyst that said that Ohio State should be number 1 because they're beating up on bad teams and they're doing it really well. They're my fillators. It's a fucking joke. Jamie?
I guess I would give it to Lane Kiffin and also Jimbo Fisher. Just because I just want to keep piling on Jimbo. His team fucking sucks. Everyone was high on Texas A&M for no reason. They're fucking terrible. And then for Lane Kiffin to get beat by a shitty LSU team, it's pathetic. Brian Kelly's a fucking bitch.
Did you guys see that pick that LSU defender had in the end zone?
Yeah.
That was nasty.
The one-hander?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. Gary, you got one ready?
Gotta be.
Yeah, I'm gonna give mine to the Bucks, man. Like the fact that you go in, that you're playing so bad and you lose to a team that's selling off their best piece of their offense that's been for years and all this kind of stuff. And they're playing a quarterback who I don't even know if he threw a ball past the line of scrimmage last week. Like, and you're supposed to be able to stop the run, and you allow them to run for damn near 200 yards, and you lose the game, and you score. It was like 3 points. Like, that's pathetic. They suck.
Yep.
Yeah, they were one of mine. Mine is Syracuse. You go up 21-10 and score 0 fucking points in the second half, have 40 fucking yards, plus 4 turnovers. All you have to do is score a touchdown, you win the game, and you shit in your pants. My nominee or the runner-up would be Andy Dalton. Fucking 2 pick sixes, making the Cardinals offense score 42 points and look good. Pitiful.
Did you see the picture that they had of Andy Dalton?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Oh my God, what a picture.
But Zach, with Syracuse, the fact that Clemson put in the backup quarterback, he didn't throw the ball, and Syracuse seemed to be surprised that they were going to run the ball with the backup quarterback.
Everything they did was abysmal.
All right, that's a wrap. I'll hook up with you guys this week and we'll do picks for the next week. See you
I'll
guys.
say